Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, I know. I try to explain to them that, you know, I get colored people time and Indian time, so I'm allowed to be late. Not everybody understands that. I'm Deborah Perry. I come here from Halifax. I was actually born in Manitoba because my mom was trying to get home to Alberta to have me, but she was in Manitoba, and so I was born in Manitoba, but the reserve that my mom is from is Wabasca, Alberta. My dad is, my mom was Cree. My dad is Mi'kmaq and Black from Nova Scotia. They kind of met when my dad was working for the railway. Now, I say that now with big pride because of the beauty that I know of my ancestry. But growing up, it was awful. To my native family, I was a slap me five Indian. To my Black family, I was that high yellow girl with good hair that thought she was better than everybody. So I fought every day. Every day to school, every day home from school. Used to get out at 2:45 because everybody else get out at 3 o'clock. So sometimes I would make it home without getting ganged because I, you know, grew to be a pretty good fighter and I could do my own thing if I had to, which I should never had to, but if I had to, but I couldn't do anything with 5 or 6 people, right? So I would try to get home before it happened. So I grew up partially in Nova Scotia, where there's a whole lot of, unfortunately, a lot of people who, in order to feel good about themselves, they had to feel better than somebody else. So they had to feel better than me. So I may be this, but I'm not that. And I may be this, but I'm not that. The pecking order it's good. I'm trying to squeeze everything in here in 5 minutes, and it's hard. But I ended up being the kid that just needed to belong somewhere, anywhere. I just wanted to belong. I didn't belong here, and I didn't belong there. So at 13, I'm 56. So when I was growing up, truancy, yeah, that's going to go all over my clothes. Beautiful clothes, by the way. I get them downstairs free. Don't do yoga, but I love to paint. But I needed to belong somewhere. So, when I was growing up, it was against the law to be truant, to not go to school. But I couldn't go to school because I was fighting all the time, and I was fighting with these people, fighting with that. Plus, it made me that person who was always fighting for the underdog. So even when it wasn't my day to get beat up, the girl that came to school that didn't dress the same way as everybody else, they were trying to beat her up. So I had to stand in front of her and say, well, no, you're not beating her up today. You'll have to beat us both up. And so they did. So at just turning 13, I went to this wonderful place called the prior to that, I was in the Nova Scotia Home for Colored Children. Prior to that, which is still called that, by the way. Right. It's in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. From there, and then I ended up in the Nova Scotia School for Girls, which sounds wonderful, right? Boarding school. Not boarding school. We didn't get the press that a lot of the Shelburne School did, or the Mount Cashel School did, because of course those terror abuses were done to boys. They didn't talk about the Truro School for Girls as much. We didn't get the press. We didn't get all of that stuff. I can talk about these things now, although I did sign a waiver saying that I can't sue them anymore, because I did sue their asses. And won too. We were given sentences of indeterminate sentence, which meant we keep you till we think you can get out of here. But most women, girls got out at least by 16. You got out at 16, but if you continued to cause problems, you ended up at the Coverdale School, which was 16 to 19, which was another school. So anyway, at 13, I ran away from there. I ran away from there every chance I got, but, and they started by just only letting me wear a nightgown all the time. Because they thought I wouldn't run away in a nightgown, but I did. I was booting her down the hill bare feet and in a flannelette nightie and no bloomers, but I was going. So, I would grab clothes off of clotheslines as I was going by and get dressed. And away I would go, to the point where the counselors would say, please don't run away tonight, I'm tired. Because they knew I was not going to stay there, right? I wasn't going to stay in a place where they paid girls to beat up other girls, right? They paid, in kind of almost like as in a fun thing. The counselors would give girls privileges, extra cigarettes, because the older girls were allowed to smoke. You know, basically they'd say, okay, go strip her and put her in detention. I'll give you guys an extra smoke break. So I was getting beat up again. Because our detention room was about the size of an apartment, like a really small, like you can do that with your hands. And it had a little wooden box to lay on, and you got those Hudson Bay really itchy gray blankets, right? And they would put you in there sometimes. It was only supposed to be 48-hour holding cell, but I spent up to 14 days there with no lights. Because I wouldn't write a letter saying that I apologized for running away from this place. So at 13, when I ran away, we got all the way to Quebec. I got to Quebec and I was panhandling on the street, and these women who, to me, were like, how can I say it? They came out of the car and they smelled rich. They just smelled, it was the difference between Oscar and body spray. Right? And I didn't know the difference, but I knew I liked it. Okay? They were dressed beautifully and everything. So, and one of them said to me, you know, you could do a lot better than just panhandling. I mean, I wasn't stupid. You know, I kind of had an idea of what was up. But I wanted to belong somewhere, right? And they were being nice to me, and I thought, okay, maybe this is where I belong, because we all know that the vultures hang out and look for people that are the vulnerable people, you know, and the runaway kids, and the, you know, that's their job, right? I was very blessed in the sense, I have to say, that with what could have happened to me and what did happen to me were a lot more pleasant. Yeah. Okay, so they're putting me off already, never even got anywhere. Anyway, let's just say that I've been a woman who has been in and out involved in the sex trade, now by choice. Well, I don't do it anymore, because if I do, I get kicked out of my program. But, and I never admit to being in the sex trade anyway, so, you know, because that is illegal. But, you know, but I'll be quick only because they wanted me to say about success stories, okay? There's a whole lot of other stuff that's going on, and if you want to know, I'm writing a book, by the way. But anyway, to talk about just a little tiny bit about success stories, and I'll get off of here, and then you can come find me. I can tell you a whole lot of stuff. Anyway, I started in the sex trade at 13, so it kind of gives me like 43 years in and out. I'm very, very blessed. They call me the fossil hoe at home only because I'm still alive, and most of my friends aren't. Okay, because there is a lot of bad things there. But I will tell you about this real quick about the program. That I'm in right now, which, to be honest with you, I'm going to tell you, the woman that runs this program, Wanda, I have known her for 27 years. For 27 years, I've been kind of in and out of recovery and all this kind of stuff, you know, that kind of goes with everything. And she's listened to me for 27 years. And over those 27 years, she has made changes. So there's a program through the YWCA called WISH, and it's called Women in Supportive Housing. But we get our own apartments in all different parts of the city in Halifax. I'm in the real bougie part, by the way, only because it's by the hospital and I had some medical issues that I had to close the hospital, so that's why I get that one. But we get 535 as a maximum housing amount in Halifax through social services, you know, which gives you about $8,000 a year. They'll pay $30,000 a year to keep me in jail, you know. But they'll only give me $28,000, you know. So trying to get all this good stuff. Anyway, but with this program, they give women their own one-bedroom apartments. And this is for single women. They also have another program that's for women with children. Because my kids are all grown up now. My kids are, 30, 40, right? But they give you your own apartment. When you walk in, you have everything in that apartment, right down to toilet tissue. And no one knows how important toilet tissue is until you're sitting there and you don't have it. Right? And they give you this apartment. They're not super intrusive. They got to do their thing too, to keep everybody safe and stuff like that. But they're all over the city. And you get your own key. I never realized how important having your own key was until these last 2 years. I can just put my key in my door and I can go in there whenever I want and I can lock my door and I don't have to turn the lights out at 8 o'clock. And that, I can't even, I gotta tell you, because I get goosebumps about the key thing because it meant so much. A key. This probably doesn't mean anything to most people, right? But a key meant everything to me. A key meant life. A key meant that they trusted me. A key means freedom and all kinds of other wonderful stuff, right? And it was my key, not their key, right? And you get 2 years, but they don't kick you out after 2 years. 2 years they help you still find good housing and stuff. So I've been there 2 years. I've been clean and sober for 2 years. My mom actually kissed me on Mother's Day. So thanks a lot, I'm the Irish. But you can come and find me because I'll talk.